Let's switch in the meantime to the US state of Delaware and Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, who today is expected to plead not guilty to lying about his drug use while buying a handgun. Well, this was Hunter Biden arriving at the courthouse in the last little while. He was charged last month by the US special counsel with 3 counts related to lying on a federal form in 2018. It's the first ever criminal prosecution of a sitting US president's child. So let's head to the courthouse and to our correspondent Gary O'Donoghue. And Gary, bring us right up to date.
Well, the hearing's over, Matthew. Hunter Biden has now left the court. He spent about an hour in total inside. The hearing itself went on for about 26 minutes. And as we expected, he pleaded not guilty to these 3 firearms charges. There are going to be some motions brought in this case. For example, his defence are going to bring a motion to dismiss on the basis that there was a plea agreement in place at least until July, and they believe that is still valid. And they also believe that the charges are unconstitutional given the nature of some recent Supreme Court judgments on gun ownership. They have until the beginning of November to do that. We don't have a trial date at this stage, and of course the trial date will depend on the outcome of those motions, but he seemed pretty relaxed in court, talking to his lawyers, wearing a dark suit and giving a little wave to journalists as he left.
And just take us through both what the prosecution have been outlining and also the defence here.
Well, as we said, there was going to be a deal to dismiss these charges under a plea agreement back in July. That included also some charges on about his taxes, his income taxes. But that fell apart in the hands of a judge who said there were irregularities with it. So the federal prosecutors have had to bring these charges, and they may bring yet more on the tax question. The gun charges relate to 2018 when Hunter Biden bought a gun while he was a drug addict, which was illegal, and he held it for 11 days before, bizarrely, his then girlfriend threw it in a dumpster. It was never used, it was never loaded, and he thought this charge was going away, and typically I think in these sorts of cases it would. The firearm wasn't used in any kind of crime. It was never, as I say, never even loaded. But Hunter Biden is the son of the president, and that's why this case, I suppose, has escalated to some degree. It's being run by a special counsel, which is a Department of Justice prosecutor, effectively. And I think it's worth bearing in mind that this is really just a small part of the problems Hunter Biden faces. There could be more tax charges. And of course, congressional Republicans, as you well know, are going after him big time in terms of his business dealings with Ukraine and China, and trying to tie those business dealings to his father, Joe Biden, and trying to demonstrate through an impeachment inquiry in the House of Representatives that Joe Biden benefited from Hunter Biden's business connections and therefore should be impeached. So there's a whole raft of other problems swirling around Hunter Biden and his father. This is just one small element of the legal jeopardy he faces.
And Gary, briefly, if you look at the diary then for this trial, what are you anticipating?
Oh, probably next year, but maybe early next year. It's difficult to say. As I say, the motions have to be put by the 3rd of November. The judge will think about those for a bit and then set a trial date. I mean, this trial is only 3 quite simple charges, a possession charge and 2 charges of lying on a federal form. That can attract quite high sentences, but in this case I think it's very unlikely. But even so, you know, you're looking probably a week or two's trial, I'm guessing here, sometime in the new year. But that's all yet to be decided and determined.
Gary O'Donoghue, thanks very much for that. Thank you.